With 500 million followers, the world's fourth largest religion is Buddhism, a faith or philosophy that aims to overcome suffering and achieve a state of inner peace and wisdom called nirvana. It was founded by the followers of Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha, more than 2,500 years ago in India. Siddhartha Gautama was born a Hindu prince into a wealthy family in 5th century BCE, present-day Nepal. Although he had an easy life, he was moved by suffering in the world. He first decided to give up his lavish lifestyle and endure poverty, yet this did not fulfill him. He started therefore to promote the idea of the middle way, a life lived between the two extremes without social indulgence but also without deprivation. Buddhists believe that after 6 years of searching, Siddhartha found enlightenment while meditating under a Bodhi tree, and then went on to spend the rest of his life teaching others on how to reach the state of nirvana, which is where all suffering ceases. When the Buddha passed away, his followers began to organize his teachings, which were passed on orally until their transcription around the 1st century BCE. It is therefore difficult to say to what extent his discourses have been preserved as they were spoken. Relatively similar to Hindus, Buddhists believe in a wheel of continuous rebirth, where souls are reincarnated depending on how they conducted themselves in their previous lives, and they also embrace the concept of karma, or the law of cause and effect. Although Hinduism was the dominant religion of the region, Buddhism appealed to people of lower castes because it emphasized individuals' path to enlightenment and salvation, which could be attained in their current lives rather than the future ones. Rising Buddhism was actually developed in response to what was perceived as the failure of Hinduism to address the needs of the people, and while it may be considered an offshoot of Hinduism, Buddhism rejects the caste system, abolishes rituals, priesthoods, and even gods. The ultimate goal of Buddhism is the liberation from suffering of repeated cycles of birth, mundane life, and death called samsara. This blowing out of worldly suffering is known as nirvana and can be achieved by using the methods of the Buddha known as the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The Noble Truths revolve around an understanding of why we suffer and how to end suffering through the Eightfold Path, or the Middle Way. The Eightfold Path is referred to as the Wheel of Dharma, a collection of ideas taught by the Buddha on how to end suffering through simple steps including right intention, right speech, and right action, among others. Buddhists live by 5 moral precepts. They are against the killing of living things, abusing drugs and alcohol, stealing, sexual misconduct, and lying. Followers of Buddhism do not acknowledge a supreme god or deity. They instead focus on the proving path to achieve nirvana. Widely observed practices include meditation, observance of moral precepts, monasticism, taking refuge in the Buddha, and the cultivation of virtues. Buddhism proceeded to spread from Magadha and Kosala throughout much of India, and by the 3rd century BCE it had gained the favor of the Mauryan emperor Ashoka. He designated Buddhism as the state religion of India, and his support led to the construction of more temples. During the 5 centuries between the fall of the Mauryan dynasty and the rise of the Gupta dynasty, Buddhism entered Han China via the Silk trade routes. It blended with a Chinese philosophy called Taoism and became assimilated into Chinese culture. Also, Mahayana, one of the prominent sects of Buddhism, became the most popular sect in India. The 6th century saw the invasion of India by the Huns, a pre-Mongolic people that destroyed hundreds of Buddhist monasteries. Not long after the Huns were driven out, Islam began to spread rapidly in the region, forcing Buddhism into the background in many places. With the collapse of the Pala dynasty in the 12th century, Buddhism in India began its final slow decline after substantial Muslim invasions. Although Islam and the revitalized Hinduism were the major religions of India, Buddhism did remain influential in areas such as northeast India, Thailand, and Tibet. In Tibet, Buddhism is still the most popular religion. The leading monk of Buddhism there is called the Dalai Lama and has always been the political governor of Tibet until the Chinese took control in 1959. Today, China, followed by Thailand, have the largest populations of Buddhists in the world. The religion was introduced into the West by large numbers of immigrants from China and other Southeastern Asian countries, and its influence is growing there as well as throughout the world. The original idea behind what the Buddha taught may be summed up in the long-existent rumor of what he said on his deathbed. Be your own light. Do not look for the light in another. Light your own way in the dark.